Today, I'm going to talk about a big problem for anyone who unlawfully claimed the Employee Retention Tax Credit. It's reported to be the largest tax fraud scheme in American history, coming in at an estimated $2 trillion. Check out this letter for an ERTC refund claim. $468,000 for 18 employees at $26,000 each. Whoa, this is serious, folks. If you didn't know, the IRS is holding any ERC claim for over $200,000 per quarter for additional scrutiny. If you or someone you know believe you are a victim of an ERC scam, then you'll want to watch this video and please share it with them. Stay until the end and I'll share with you your options if you were conned by one of the many ERC pop-up companies. Hi, I'm Noel Lorenzana, your friendly neighborhood accountant. Follow me for important public service announcements just like this one. Let me tell you, I knew this would happen, and I was one of the few qualified tax accountants who opted not to do employee retention tax credit work. It wasn't difficult once you figured out the rules and how to do the calculations, but I knew it would be an area rife with fraud and abuse. The ERC, or Employee Retention Tax Credit, was a program designed to incentivize small businesses to keep full-time employees on payroll during the pandemic instead of laying them off. So here's what happened to a fellow CPA, let's call him Joe. His longtime client, who he had carefully checked for ERC eligibility and determined that the client did not qualify. So later on, a tax consultant comes in and concludes that they qualified for the maximum employee retention tax credit of $468,000. My guy Joe reviews the rules with the client again and reiterates that the client should not qualify. So now the client, after the fact, realizes they were conned. Joe advises them to call the IRS and tell someone that they now, after the fact, realize their pending $468,000 refund claim is bogus. Yikes. Trust me, you don't want to file a false refund claim with the IRS. First of all, if your claims are determined to be fraudulent, expect to pay it all back, including what you paid to the scammer tax consultant, who often charge anywhere from 20 to 50% of the refund claim, not to mention penalties and interest that can double the bogus refund claim amount. Whoa. So what does one do now? What I would do is contact the IRS immediately and tell them what happened. I have some really good videos on contacting the IRS by phone that you can check out up here. If you already paid the processing fees to the tax consultant, well, good luck getting that back. You can try to maybe contact a lawyer. Personally, I wouldn't want a fraudulent ERC claim hanging over my head. If the IRS determines there was fraud involved, you'll have to pay it all back plus penalties and interest, and depending on the amount, you could even be looking at jail time. If you already cashed the check and spent the money, then good luck sleeping at night. I don't know what to tell you. This is a real messed up situation, and pleading ignorance won't save you. So as a refresher, there are generally two ways which you qualify, and those are either by a reduction in revenues by over 50 or 20%, depending on the year, or if a government order resulted in a complete or partial suspension of your business operations. And this is where the fraud and abuse happens. This is important. To qualify, you'll need to show that your business was actually shut down or had its operations significantly impacted by a government order. If it was only a partial closure, you'll need to prove that your hours of operation or revenue were reduced by at least 10%. So if the ERC consultants tell you that you qualified based on a government order to shut down, so simply ask them for or locate the government mandate or shutdown order. Easy enough, right? Well, not so fast. Oftentimes, no government order exists, and if that's the case, then you might have just been conned. So check with your ERC consultants and confirm how they determined your eligibility for the Employee Retention Tax Credit. You'll want to get a copy of the government order and take a look at it. Make sure that it either closed your business operations or it closed down the business operations of a major vendor in your supply chain. Basically, you want to confirm your eligibility. So if you claimed ERC refunds, but now you think that maybe you weren't entitled to them, well, here's what you need to do now. First things first, if you haven't filed your amended federal quarterly payroll tax returns yet, hold off on that for now. This might mean telling whoever is helping you prepare your amended returns to stop. And it's important to let them know, in case you're unsure, that you don't think there's a government order that applies to your situation anymore. Alright, so the next step, if you've already filed your federal quarterly payroll tax returns but haven't received a refund yet, you might want to give the IRS a call at this number, 1-800-366-4484, and let them know that you suspect you are a victim of ERC fraud. This information is directly from the IRS website, and it warns employers about third-party tax consultants promoting fraudulent ERC refunds. Last but not least, if the IRS has already processed your ERTC refunds and you realize that your company doesn't qualify for it, you'll have to fix any tax returns that show the wrong ERC refunds. And don't forget, you'll have to give back any money you received. Oh, and also, if you amended your personal income tax returns already, you'll need to re-amend those again. Now, if you feel that you've been duped by a tax consultant, or Ercmail, as we like to call them in the profession, then definitely get a solid second opinion. You don't want to be in a position with having to pay back hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS with accumulating penalties and interest, and where you could be required to personally pay it all back. For more of my personal insights, check out my video either here or here, where I talk about the IRS auditing fraudulent ERC tax credit fraud. So with the new 87,000 IRS employees, I guarantee they'll be looking hard at ERC tax fraud. Do let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. If you're watching this, consider yourself a member of the Ask an Accountant community, and please be sure to like and subscribe.